Welcome back. Now we have with us one of our friends of the house, the amazing Mr. Fola Daniels Ademisi. The topic today on motivation is an interesting one, and it has a lot to do with the times. And we should get straight into it. VUCA, what exactly does this mean for you and your immediate surroundings? It's great to have you back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to always be here.
Wow. Okay, so we've talked a bit about the acronym earlier on the show. I know that volatility is the first one, but
Yes.
just break it down. Why did you think it was important to put all of these terms together?
We're currently living in what is called a VUCA world.
Okay.
And the word VUCA simply explains everything that is going on around us. VUCA is acronym for V, volatility,
Yeah.
U, uncertainty, C, complexity, and A, ambiguity.
Okay.
Volatility because everything is unstable. One thing is going in one direction right now, and the next minute is being challenged. Nations are coming against nations. Organizations are coming against organizations. You used to hear it's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah,
Or
true.
it's a shark, or it's murky waters. But this time around, it's beyond dog-eat-dog. It's beyond having a murky waters.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot more complex because everybody is fighting for market share. So there's a lot of volatility, especially with the war between Russia and Ukraine.
Sure.
And now China is trying to come against Taiwan. Now US is fighting China. So there's a whole lot of volatility. Now, uncertainty, because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Early in the year, just a few weeks back, we started hearing about COVID again in China. And that was scary for everyone. We really don't want to have a repeat of what happened in 2020. Now, complexity, artificial intelligence is coming into place. Today, I can get your voice, feed it into an AI platform, write a speech for that AI platform, and make it look like you're the one talking.
Yeah.
So the next question is, how do you prove, if you can, that you're not the one talking? When it's your face we're seeing and it's your voice we're hearing. But I can make you do something that you never did using AI. So there's complexity coming in, and there's also ambiguity. Now, the ambiguity is because of the volatility, because of the uncertainty, because of the complexity, people are confused. They don't know what to do again. They don't know which direction they should be headed. People are now wondering, how do we now make money in this time and age? Even the money we're making, it doesn't cover the bills. You know, we were a bit happy just a few weeks back when the pump price of petrol dropped. Now it's gradually climbing again. And people are losing their jobs on a daily basis, especially because AI is doing some menial tasks that we used to pay human beings for. These days, you don't pay people for transcription again because AI does that. You don't pay some video editors again because AI does that. You don't need to get people to transcribe anything for you. In fact, AI will write books for you. Even though I don't subscribe to that.
Of course, but it is happening. It's happening.
Exactly.
I want to touch on an example for the volatility of the market. There are some companies that last year had it, they were balling, such as TikTok, for instance, and CapCut in the US. I'm just trying to think about the ups and downs of their market share now.
It's crazy for them because, for example, the US market is nearly a 400 million people market. So imagine that TikTok is losing access to a market where they have almost 400 million people. And CapCut is also losing that same market. Now, volatility comes in there because they would have thought that they have a lot of money to make from that market, and they were making money. Then there are content creators as well who up until maybe today or yesterday were only making money from TikTok. They didn't have a job.
They didn't have any
All they
alternative.
had to do was record something with their phone and put it on TikTok, and they would get paid. And they were paying their bills, they were paying mortgage, they were paying for cars, insurance, and everything. But today, all of that is gone in one night. So it tells you that volatility is serious and it's real, but it depends absolutely on leadership of nations. Take a look at what's happening just very closer home to us in Mali, in Niger Republic. Now, military men have taken over. They are pulling out of ECOWAS. So what it also means in the coming days is that the moment they officially pull out of ECOWAS, getting into those countries may become issues. These days, what you need is just your passport to drive through Niger, drive through Mali.
Sure.
But once they pull out of ECOWAS, we may lose that privilege.
And there are probably some people that are doing business
With those nations as neighbors.
So that's where uncertainty
most of that
comes
will become
in.
a bit more difficult.
Yeah, uncertainty comes in
yes.
there. How do they continue doing business? What is the process going to be like? How expensive is it going to be? And
It's certainly going to be more expensive because you pay more to gain access. I'll give you a quick example. One famous pastor said he was coming from the UK into Nigeria, and because Niger Republic is now under the control of the military regime, what happened was that he couldn't fly directly into Nigeria. It's shorter flying over the airspace of Niger. But what they had to do is to fly around.
So that's an additional, probably an
additional
hour.
Cost, additional time.
Additional cost to the airline.
To the airline, yes.
Meaning additional cost to the
to
customer.
the passenger as well. And what about the security? What about the safety of the passenger? Take, for example, so a 6-hour flight initially now becomes maybe a 7-hour flight or an 8-hour flight. So you've lost time, you've lost
money.
I mean, money.
Time is money.
So the airlines too now are spending a lot more. So the uncertainty is there. It's increasing on a daily basis. And when you now talk about complexity, some people love complexity. I don't know why. I can't explain it. But if you give them some simple things, they will make it complex. But there are some others, for consultants ideally, when you give them complex things, our job is to simplify it. So in this world that we are, because of volatility and because of uncertainty, some people want to mystify themselves because it's in that mystery that they seem to make money. The more you know about them, the less they're able to make money. So they think that we should stay mysterious. Just like the Yorubas will say, apologies, I will try to interpret this. Ohun tágbà fi ń jẹ ẹ̀kọ, abẹ́ ewé ló wà. Meaning that what the elders use when they're eating or consuming pap, it's hidden under the leaves. It's a way of saying that we don't tell you everything. There are some things we keep hidden.
But do you subscribe to that?
Absolutely not.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I don't subscribe to it is we understand that one of the ways to make more money is to create systems and structures and multiply yourself. Take, for example, if I want to make money physically by training people, and I have to be physically in all the physically present in all locations. It's going to be so difficult.
Of course.
But when I create digital courses or digital books and put them online, for example, there are people in Germany, there are people in the US who buy my books at a time when I'm sleeping in Nigeria.
But now let's talk about this ambiguity because everybody is trying to do everything. Everybody is their own presenter, videographer, editor, everybody's influencer. Everybody's trying to do digital marketing. Everything is in one person. Are we not losing our identity? Are we not losing, that thing that makes us a core brand?
It comes back to what we call in Nigeria, anywhere beleface.
Wow.
So there are people, what that simply means is that anything that brings in money. So number one, it's only a few people that recognize the need to have a niche. It's not everybody that thinks, oh, I must be known for just this. For example, if I take myself all the time and I tell people who think I do a lot of things, I say, no, I don't do a lot of things. Look at everything I do, analyze it. There are just 2 things I do. Writing and speaking.
So
regardless of the platform or the name that you give to it, the name can change based on where you are meeting me, but it's just 2 things I'm doing. It's just writing and speaking.
So what you subscribe to is having a niche, but be flexible?
You can be flexible. Your niche can cut across industries. Take, for example, you can be a lawyer who operates in the real estate industry and also operates in the media. You can be an accountant who also has some skills in the HR space. Because these days, people are becoming so flexible and they realize that jobs are beginning to align. So if you're an HR person, don't just stick with knowing HR. Begin to look into communications. Because these days, people don't want to hire someone else separately for communications and someone else separately for HR. Why can't we have HR who understands communications? Or why can't we have an accountant who understands HR? So be a niche-based person,
Yeah.
but be smart enough to understand how to diversify your skill set.
All right. Just like I know of a particular chef who bakes extremely well and decided to put together her own baking mix and become a distributor of that same baking mix.
Fantastic, because
You know?
that means you're now creating products.
Exactly.
You have your recipe
Exactly.
that you can even sue someone else for
For-
if they use it. So we
Yeah.
need to come to times when you don't just render services. You don't just create products. You need to think about royalties as well.
Okay.
Because with royalties, it means that you create a product once, but you earn forever
on it.
Even when you pass on. You know that in your last will and testament, you can write a will and say, I pass on the rights to these royalties to my children.
Interesting.
Which means that your children even continue to earn from the thing. So in a VUCA world, think smart, work smart. It's not about hard work anymore.
Let's take it from the beginning again. VUCA, that's
Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity.
Do you think this could change anytime soon? Do you think any of these particular aspects of VUCA could change soon?
It's not going to change. It's not going to change. The world will remain. Take, for example, stock market prices. You know that from trends, almost every 7 years, stock markets will crash. It will pick up almost every 7 years. If you check 2008, we had the global economic crisis. Count 7 years after that, you notice that we had another global economic crisis. 7 years after that, we are approaching another one.
Wow.
So it's going to repeat itself. Now, what you need to do is to, first of all, have emotional intelligence, because these things will always happen, but you have to be prepared. Now, the other thing is there's what we call data analysis or data analytics. You can always use data analysis or data analytics to work against the uncertainty
of the times.
For example, at the beginning of every year, they do what we call economic outlook. Some organizations do it, but most people don't understand the value of economic outlook. When you go to presentations where they do maybe the 2025 economic outlook, it gives you an idea of what to expect for the year. And how do they do that? They look at the data for the past 5 years and say, going by the data, and data does not lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. So going by the numbers, this is what we're likely going to have in 2025. So that prepares you. And another thing that will prepare you for uncertainty or complexity is be flexible. When you have taken a look at data, prepare yourself, adjust. Go into a new industry or shut down something you're doing, start something else.
Especially if you realize, based on data, that what you're doing may not be so relevant
again
in the next 5 or let's say 7 years.
Some would even be in the next 6 months.
Wow.
In the next 6 months.
That is an alarming thought. But I hope we've learned something today. Hope you've learned something this morning. And if you missed any aspect of this, not to worry, it's going to be popping up on YouTube. Just search for TVC Entertainment and, look for Wake Up Nigeria, and you'll see this whole conversation again. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the VUCA of it all. There's quite a lot happening in that particular space, and hopefully you're better prepared for it.